Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 13 of season 3 of our F125 Red Bull Driver Career Mode. Yes, we return this weekend back at the British Grand Prix, this time round of course on the reverse layout. If you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. History repeated itself. George Russell and I, of course, he at Mercedes, myself at Red Bull, went down in towards the old turn 1, and again, it ended up being a disaster for the Red Bull driver. At least you guys completely agreed with me, though. Russell was completely out of line there, just decided he was going to turn into me in towards the corner, and ultimately, rather sadly, that meant my podium streak has come to an end. 21 races in a row from the Belgian Grand Prix last year. We made it all the way back round to Silverstone this year, but an 8th place finish was all we could muster, and it now means our gap at the top of the table has been slashed to just 45 points ahead of Lando Norris. We've got half the season ticked off. We've got another half, of course, of the season to go. Obviously, Silverstone this weekend before we return to Belgium and Zandvoort as well. So we've got a lot of tracks that I'm looking forward to nonetheless. Some of you guys have been saying you want to see my driver statistics inside this game. There you go. Obviously, 1 Drivers' Championship, 1 Constructors, 18 poles, 18 wins, 38 podiums. We've had an average finish of 3rd inside this series as well, which I think is pretty good going inside this game. And hopefully this weekend, we should cross over 1,000 career points as well there, which I don't know if that's an accolade inside this game, but either way, we're trying to get as many of those as we possibly can. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We are getting closer and closer to 15k at the moment, but yeah, without further ado, let's head back here to Silverstone.
Welcome along everybody to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Mercedes were unable to determine whether George Russell's late race DNF was caused by that contact on lap 1 last time out, so both of us return here with a fire under our bellies. We both want to try and win, but of course McLaren absolutely dominated this race the other way around, so Lando Norris only 45 points back now. We'll suddenly have a lot more belief as well then. We need to try and get some good laps on the board as we head into qualifying. It's the first couple of corners here, super awkward to try and get nailed. Don't think we did a great job there, trying to get the car out of turn 3, but then up the hill we go. Only downshifting to 6th gear there before you carry the speed off of the corner. Activate the DRS as we make our way up the hangar straight then, but yeah, as always though, Silverstone of course requires very high commitment and a lot of bravery as well. As I think we were up slightly on the split times of Isaac Hadjel. But we'll wait and see there. Antonelli Dew and Liam Lawson, all the rookies right down at the bottom of your running order at the moment. But of course, everybody will get another run as well there. I mean, the old turn 1, utterly ridiculous. Just how much grip there is, how much speed you can carry around this venue as well there as we try and get the car neat and tidy out onto the Wellington straight there. Again, use the battery as early as you can, and then we make our way up in towards the loop. I believe Verstappen is currently fastest on a 124 flat. Don't think we're going to quite match that of our teammate there, as well we run a little bit wide in through the loop. Try and get a really good run on the exit though, is all we get again. A little bit of wheel spin there. Clearly still trying to get the car exactly how I want it. Through the final corner, it is going to be a 124.7. We go P5. But my oh my, look at that. Bortoletto and Behrman inside your top 7. Whereas all the other rookies are right at the back. Well, of course, it was Oscar Piastri that took pole the other way around. Obviously, in a tricky condition where really being one of the last cars on a run seemed to be pivotal. No such misfortune, though, for everybody else this time round. As we get ready then to start our final lap here. Will we see times improved by the AI as well? Only time will tell. But we just need to be brave. We need to be consistent. We've got to get the car placed exactly where we need it. So that's a lot better through turn 1 and turn 2. And even through turn 3 as well. They carry the speed off of the corner and immediately look at that 3/10 up. And it will hopefully give us some confidence around the rest of the lap there. Albon goes to the top of the board. Fractions of a second clear of my teammate Max Verstappen, but he will be one of the next cars up over the line. And there we go, Verstappen goes even fractions quicker there than Alex Albon, less than a 100th of a second in it. between the Williams and the Red Bull, man. But we are still finding time on this run. I think it's going to be a Red Bull on pole position, but we just don't know which one yet. 6 tenths up as we make our way down the back straight. I think we ran a 1:24.7, didn't we, first time round? So we need to find another couple of tenths there as we try and keep it clean and tidy through Luffield. Really attack the curb on the exit. And look at this, the time is coming towards us. We are finding everything on this lap there as we dip under the 1 minute barrier by the end of Sector 2. Nice and tidy on the brakes. Allow the car to roll in though. Don't worry about scrubbing off too much speed through the first part, because the second part as well just as critical. 1.1 seconds up as we make our way through the final couple of corners. Surely this is going to be P1. Yes, it is, by 4 tenths.
Really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
Well, there we are then. We will take pole position. Red Bull will get a front row lockout as well. Very, very happy with that. But you got a feel for Max Verstappen. I'm sure he finished that lap thinking it was the lap of his life and that he'd just stolen pole position away from Alexander Albon there. We come through a minute later and put 4.5 tenths on him. I'm sure our teammate, again, not happy with that one. Charles Leclerc just ahead of George Russell. Lando Norris, he'll be disappointed down in P6, but still quicker than his teammate Oscar Piastri down in 8th. Both Haas cars inside your top 10, as well as Gabriel Bortoleto. So quite a few surprises here, as once again, Aston Martin, you know, they've still got, in theory, the best car inside this series, but 13th and 14th for Hamilton and Ocon. What on earth is going on?
Welcome to not only the home of British motorsport, but also the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, a classic on the calendar, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and Alex Albon lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Lando Norris, and Behrman, Piastri, Bortoleto, Stroll, and Franco Colapinto, Hülkenberg, Verstappen, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Isaac Hadjar. Doohan and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Well, here we are then, down on the grid, ready for the British Grand Prix. 26 laps ahead of us, and it looks like we could see rain towards the end of the afternoon. I want to hedge my bets. I desperately, desperately want to win this race today. So we're going to start on the hards, take them as far as we can, and then hopefully be quick on the mediums if the rain hasn't arrived just yet. Of course, sometimes what we see is the rain either won't happen or it'll come a lot earlier in the GP, so only time will tell. But even more disappointment then for Verstappen after getting out-qualified by me yet again. He's now had to take some grid penalties here, so we've got Alex Albon alongside us, and Williams will want a big result at their home Grand Prix as well. Looks like Leclerc has tried to go aggressive in his 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go then here as Albon understandably getting off to a very good start, and Leclerc as well. What's Albon doing? Why did he brake so much through the first part of the corner there? It's like he wanted to give a car room that wasn't even there. We will try and return in kind though off the exit of the corner, because there is definitely a car on my outside. As we head up the hill then, the Thai driver, really struggling with understeer at the start of this. I mean, look at that, Albon. Barely getting the car in front of me, just like in last weekend's race. We're having a very, very intense battle towards the front of the order on lap 1. But hopefully, unlike last weekend's race, we're going to make it through without dropping to the rear of the field there. Still side by side with Alexander Albon as we make our way out of Maggots and Beckett's there and then back down in towards Copse Corner. Surely there's not enough grip on the outside, and there we go. Albon will hang on to the spot for now then. So a great start by the Williams man, who looked a little bit shaky. Of course, haven't really seen him fight for leads or wins really since the start of the year there. It has been Carlos Sainz that has stolen the show. Of course, Albon grew up in here in the UK. Does race under a Thai license though. So technically, by Formula 1 rules, this doesn't actually count as his home Grand Prix. But yes, we'll try and make our way through the final couple of corners then. Looks like it's George Russell up to P3. It's Ollie Bearman up to P5 in that Haas car. So a brilliant start for him, getting ahead of Lando Norris. But we've just got to try and settle into a rhythm early on. Let's just do a quick weather update.
Now enabled. DRS enabled.
I want to find out what's going on with the weather. Do we
Okay,
have anything on the radar?
Clear. Weather is looking good for now. Okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now.
So, yeah, that normally means there's nothing kind of on the horizon inside the next 15 minutes or so. So that would take us to nearly half distance in this Grand Prix. But of course, that can change rather rapidly. Well, we know in the early stages then that Williams will be very, very quick. We've seen it before this season. Williams able to get a good start and then seemingly struggle later on, as that is not what I needed to do. And that has maybe given Albon a bit more breathing room at the front of the order, as you can see there, George Russell immediately tries to take the opportunity to attack us there, but unfortunately for himself committing to the wrong side of the circuit, as the door would have rather immediately shut. Yeah, I think if we can just avoid going wheel to wheel with George Russell this afternoon, that would probably be quite good. I don't know what it is he's got against the Red Bull drivers, but clearly he just dislikes anybody wearing a Red Bull suit, so I guess that's good to know for us in the future. But somehow, yeah, we do get back in the range of Albon, as you can see. I think he's immediately just trying to push a little bit more in that car. But we're doing all right. We're settling in nice and early. Not trying to make too many errors, anything like that. Like I said, this is going to have to be a race that comes to us a bit later on. So we've just got to be a bit patient. But I'm also very, very intrigued to see what Charles Leclerc is going to be able to do in this race. Have Ferrari rather oddly put him on a two-stop. We know it doesn't work here. We saw Sauber try it last weekend, and it absolutely flopped for them. But you can see already, though, our top 7 cars have kind of broken away from, or top 6 even, I believe it is, have kind of broken away. But Ollie Bearman is kind of sticking with this group there as they get the car up on 2 wheels temporarily. But now I've got the battery pack all charged up. Got to try and see if we can get a run on Alex Albon here nice and soon. Just activating that battery there as we try and get the power down off of the corner. Look at this, up over 215, 220 miles an hour to the outside we will go. Albon just turned into the apex, leaving the door open for me. So we run a little bit wide through the first couple of parts of the corner. Wow, but bouncing about all over those curbs on the exit as well, as Albon immediately trying to look back for it. Around the outside through the old turn 1. Definitely not going to happen there, sir. But into the lead of the Grand Prix we go for the first time since the start. Now we've got the difficult bit of trying to stay here. Well, this is really, really good data for later on in the race, but I just don't think the medium tyre are the one you want to be on at the moment. They are not wearing out that nicely. You can see Albon immediately beginning to struggle with them then, as we've got this gap up to over a second and a half now. To try and wind our way through the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. Again, are the team expecting any rain?
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
So it is looking more and more like it's going to stay dry throughout the entirety of the afternoon. The sun is shining here at Silverstone. But just like Austria last time out, we need to try and win this race. I want a home race victory here for the team. We also need it for our championship. I mean, we've still got a healthy buffer in the World Championship, but always good to try and remind Lando Norris that he needs to do better if he wants to beat us. But it looks like then everybody beginning to struggle with tyre wear here. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz both into the pit lane, and even our team now potentially thinking about a 2-stop strategy this afternoon. I want to avoid it at all costs if I possibly can. But that front left, right-hand side tyre, even both right-hand side tyres, taking an absolute beating around this circuit. So we've got yellows out further back. That seems to be an Aston Martin going slowly then, as Verstappen trying to find a way around them. I mean, a safety car now, I would definitely take the opportunity to pit. But I don't think we're going to get that chance. Is that Hamilton? Yep, Hamilton out of the British Grand Prix. The home crowd will be devastated with that one, especially in that British Racing green car. But no safety car for us. That then tyre wear warning light is already on in this race, so I think we might be forced into a 2-stop strategy, to be completely honest. We're pulling away from Albon and George Russell behind, so I don't know whether they're just trying to look after their tyres a lot better, but yeah, we just are not going to be able to make this work, I don't think. You know, trying to stretch these tyres another 5 laps or so, they would be completely destroyed by the end of this stint there. And of course then we've got to try and take the mediums an extra 12 laps on top of that. So I think if we can take this set one more lap, we'll have to split it up 2 stints of 8 laps on these tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. But if any of the AI can make the one-stop happen, you know, maybe a McLaren's tyre where it's still going to be pretty good here, they might be able to put themselves in a fantastic spot. You lose so much time from pitting around this circuit, but everybody's going to have to. But as we make our way then through the final couple of corners, I think the blame today needs to be pushed into Pirelli's direction. They have not given us a tyre that can handle the speeds around this Silverstone circuit. We've seen it before here. Of course, if you guys remember back in, I think it was 2013, wasn't it? Pirelli had an absolute stinker around this venue. But Albon, Russell, Norris, I believe, and Ollie Behrman there, all just trying to play it easy on their tyres to make the one-stop happen. But there's not a chance. I mean, we're at 70% wear after 10 laps here on the hards. There is no chance we can make the one-stop work. So we're going to have to really try and push and see, you know, if we get a safety car, maybe some rain, something like that towards the end of the afternoon. But as we make our way then out of the pit lane, we're going to be a long, long way back behind Alexander Albon here, as we're going to be battling, I believe, with Charles Leclerc.
Now we want to finish the race on this compound.
There's the Monegasque man, as we're going to be side by side with him on pit lane exit. We'll have the inside line all ready for the next corner there, but Charles Leclerc trying to make it happen around the outside. But I'm the one that kept the DRS, so we should surely be able to make the move happen there. Use a little bit of extra battery.
Okay, mate, let's try and climb up the order. I'm setting you a new target. Push, push.
Coming back out, though, down in P13 is really not what we wanted. I mean, we can see the gap to Albon effectively with one stop left to go for the pair of us. That's the gap we need to make back up. Not going to be easy, but of course we will enjoy fresher tyres basically throughout the rest of the race. There we go, even more cars peeling into the pit lane then. But from here, if you were on the mediums, it might just about be doable to try and get to the end on one set of tyres.
Made that look easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
Really, really want to try and get down the inside of Jack Doohan there down at turn 1. Get a car between myself and Leclerc. But we'll have to wait a little bit longer there. Get the switch back at turn 3. I mean, you can just see how much more grip we've got than these guys at the moment. Isaac Hadjar, the last car between us and getting back inside the top 10 once more. I mean, you can already see we've definitely made some gains on that Williams at the front. It's gonna be a race against the mini-map, I feel like, today. But as long as we go probably, about a second a lap faster than Albon, we should be good. There we go, Albon into the pit lane, as well as I would have thought most of our other front runners there. Oscar Piastri forced to stay out just by virtue of his teammate getting that first call into the pit lane there. But yeah, as most cars then storming into the pit lane, Esteban Ocon, despite the fact Hamilton's out of this Grand Prix, opting to go for another run, but we should be comfortably ahead of Albon.
5.7 seconds.
Pull through that final sector. Not quite a new fastest lap, but I'm trying to be patient with it. Got a decent gap now over Leclerc. You can see how much time we're pulling away, how much time you lose around this venue, where the tyre wear is so high. You know, one lap can make such a difference at this stage of the Grand Prix. But I mean, look at that. We've got a very good gap now over Albon. Got to be about 9-10 seconds. This race is not over. I feel like Michael Schumacher back at Magny-Cours all those years ago on that ridiculous 4-stop strategy, where he basically spent most of the second half of that Grand Prix doing qualifying laps there as down the inside of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, just before he peels into the pit lane then, and we should be back up into P1 there, as that's not what we need to do to the tyres. We use a bit more battery out of the final corner there as things get a little bit sketchy through those final couple of turns. That probably should have been a new fastest lap of the day, but I'm sure when we bolt on another fresh set of the mediums, we'll have all the opportunities to go for that one. What is the gap to Albon? A little bit further behind. It is about 10 seconds now then, so like I said, we've basically got to do qualifying laps. It'll only be after I pit again we'll have a real idea of where we're running. Imagine if we had a red flag round about now here. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and especially Gabriele Bortoleto will be very, very happy with that one, of course, and obviously myself. But we're still pulling out a good half a second a lap over Alex Albon, so by the time we pit, that gap should be up over 12 seconds here, so it's going to be a really tough chase towards the end of the afternoon, but I think Leclerc now beginning to hold up these guys a whole lot more. When will he pit, though, again? Probably quite soon. I would imagine. Next lap, maybe? So he will come in at the end of 18, because there's no point doing anything fancy with these stints, so we've just got to try and convert. It seems like Albon is really struggling to find a way around Gabriel Bortoleto at the moment. I think it's just where the DRS zone's here. It's so difficult to stay close to the car in front of you on the way into them.
Okay, expect to see some rain.
That won't matter. That won't matter. We might get a few spits on the very last lap of the Grand Prix, but that shouldn't make much of a difference here.
Dangerously high levels of tyre wear now, and we're going to be in trouble unless you either nurse them or come in for a fresh set.
Oh, Mark, they're getting feisty with me as we're up to 75% wear on that front right-hand tyre again. But to be honest, it doesn't feel too bad at the moment. I wouldn't want to take them much further, but obviously I know we're going to be in this exact scenario right towards the end of the afternoon. And with a 14-second gap now almost over Alexander Albon, things aren't looking too bad at the moment. Get the car slowed down. Whoa, nice and tidy there. Lock the rears.
We've got to focus on the pit stop.
So I'm hoping we're going to come out around, I believe that's Ollie Behrman, isn't it? Ollie Behrman must be Franco Colapinto and Oscar Piastri in this Grand Prix. So Colapinto having a pretty good day of it so far. So on to another set of the mediums. Luckily we've got that second set, and this is the gap we need to try and close down on that top three. Bortoleto into the pit lane as well then. So yeah, we're actually going to come out quite a way behind Colapinto and Piastri in this race there. So it's just how long the pit lane exit is. That's the really frustrating bit around this venue, as Sainz another new fastest lap of the day. He's had some real speed this afternoon, but we will just get ahead of Stroll, Gasly, and that little gaggle of cars battling for your final top 10 spot. 5 seconds up to Piastri. Get through that group, and then there's about another 5-6 second gap to Russell, to Norris, to Alex Albon at the front of the order. Of course, the three drivers that obviously set the world alight in that GP2 season are back, I believe. Sorry, it must have been Formula 2, wasn't it, back in 2018. So, yeah, that top three is pretty special here. For Ollie Behrman then, this is a great way to introduce yourself to the home crowd here. What a drive he is having in that Haas car at the moment, able to keep Franco Colapinto and Oscar Piastri at bay. Two drivers that are already much quicker machines than his Haas machine.
That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Fast lap of the day then, but I'm hoping, of course, immediately we're going to get the DRS, and we need to try and move our way past these guys nice and quickly here.
The gap to the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Keep it up.
If you look at the front of the order, Albon now really beginning to pull away from Norris and Russell.
Piastri just ahead. Push hard, push hard. Right, here we go. Let's look to get past quickly and put them on the back foot.
Our team want me to make this move happen before the end of the afternoon. I don't really want to have to wait that long. I want to try and get past him and pretty much get past him as soon as I can there as well. Getting all over the curbs. Oscar with a bit of a late block there. I think he kind of realised how much of a run I was potentially going to get on him. Was all doing a bit of rally cross on the exit of the corner there. That's not ideal. And all this does is cost us time trying to get around him there to the outside through Luffield. Surely not.
Nice work. Really good job with that target, mate.
Oh, and round the outside of Colapinto as well, who just about spots me on the exit of the corner. That is just how much more grip we have got at this stage of the day there, as it's 9 seconds up to Norris further up the road to the inside of Behrman, who I don't think really wants to put up too much of a fight. He's got his own battle to try and contend with towards the end. But 4 British drivers inside your top 5. And of course, we already spoke about Alex Albon, who grew up here in the UK as well. Just Lewis Hamilton, who of course out of this race, kind of let the team down. That last lap we went over 3 seconds clear of Norris and Russell just in front. The problem is, of course, do you keep pushing with absolutely everything to make sure you get there?
10 to 15 minutes.
Or do obviously you try and push just a little bit less to make sure that you get there and have some tyre to try and find a way around them. I mean, Albon is pulling away now, so I think George is beginning to struggle late on in the afternoon. But, I mean, I want to win, and I can see us getting P2, but I think unless Albon runs into problems, I cannot see a way in which we get to the tie driver. I've just got to keep pushing as I've got yellow flags out. I mean, a safety car now, even if it was just a 1-lap safety car, would be hugely beneficial for us. Don't think it's going to happen, though, as one of the Saubers out of the race. Is that Gabriel Bortoleto? Is that Nico Hülkenberg? We'll wait and find out. Yeah, it's Bortoleto, disappointment for him.
They're retiring from the race.
So the Brazilian and the honorary Brazilian out of this race then. But come on, 4 seconds, the Norris in front. As long as I beat Russell, that's the other big one today. On to the final lap then of the British Grand Prix. Alex Albon less than a lap now away from becoming the first Williams driver to win here at Silverstone since I don't know how long. I don't even know if it's happened this millennium, to be completely honest with you guys. But it'll also mean that Williams, for the first time since I believe 2003, will have both of their drivers win a race in the same season as well. It's been a tough old campaign for Alex Albon up to this point. They've obviously had a couple of podiums early on. Should have probably claimed a victory out in Shanghai. And then after that, Carlos Sainz, of course, taking a couple of victories for the team, proved it was possible. But just nothing seemed to go Alex Albon's way, as Russell and Norris still desperately trying to hang on ahead of ourselves here. We haven't got any more DRS zones, so we're going to have to try and find the grip. But these tyres are cooked as we make our way up in towards the final few corners here from Silverstone. Unless we can go for like a banzai move on Lando Norris, something, anything in these final few corners. Alexander Albon, though, for the first time ever, will win a Formula 1 Grand Prix through the final corner. What a day for the Thai driver through the final turn. It's not even going to be a podium for us. It is only P4.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
The day it has been for Alex Albon, who takes the checkered flag and wins.
To come here and take victory as a team today on home soil was so important. You can see how much it means to them. The drivers there doing their part. The team's strategy was perfect as well. And the fans really embraced that. What a great atmosphere we had here today.
What a day it's been for Formula One, and what a day it's been for these 3 drivers. Time for the podium celebrations. Time for our drivers to celebrate. And only one can climb to the very top spot, and today it's Alex Albon.
Well, there we are then. Alex Albon and Williams back on the top step of a Formula 1 podium. That must be pretty special. George Russell, Lando Norris, myself, and Ollie Behrman making up your top 5. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, Albon racing under the Thai license, but he's commented on it before. You know, here at Silverstone, he is included as a home crowd driver. So, 1 through 5th is pretty good going. Just the same, Lewis Hamilton had that mechanical failure down at Aston Martin. Colapinto there in P6 ahead of Oscar Piastri. Lance Stroll, Gasly and Charles Leclerc with a pretty disappointing drive, only in P10 when all is said and done. But I mean, look at that. Verstappen started down in 12th, ended up 14th. A terrible, terrible day for our teammate, as Bortoleto and Hamilton, like I said, the only 2 drivers who failed to see the checkered flag. That does mean, though, for the second weekend in a row, and unfortunately, obviously, both British Grand Prix, we are not going to bag a podium in front of the home crowd, so very, very disappointed with that. Albon, though, immediately leapfrogs his teammate Carlos Sainz back into 3rd place overall, and Williams, they are still definitely a threat in the Constructors' Championship as well. Oscar Piastri still ahead of Leclerc and Verstappen, as Ocon ahead of Hamilton and George Russell inside that top 10. Ollie Behrman with that result now back ahead of Franco Colapinto as well, as it is still just Bortoleto, Doohan, Hadjar and Lawson yet to score a point. Constructors-wise, Red Bull, we still lead 32 clear of McLaren, as Williams there cut the gap down to just 101 points as well. It's still quite a big margin, but get a couple of big results their way, and the tables will turn. Ferrari ahead of Aston Martin, Mercedes still in the disappointing P6, but helped, of course, by George Russell's result this weekend. Haas, Alpine, Kick Sauber and VCarb rounding out your order. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. questions will definitely be raised to Pirelli before we head to Belgium next time out. But yeah, that's going to do us, though, here from the British Grand Prix.